Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Happy Tuesday. Well, my plans for this evening have completely changed. So before we even get into this, let's do a little time and temperature check. It is currently, let's see what time it is. It's currently, it is exactly 6:40 p.m. And the temperature is, I actually thought I was gonna have to wait for my camera to like defog because it is so hot and humid outside. It was 91 today, so I have a feeling it's probably like 89 right now. Let's look and see. Oh, it is. It's 89 and mostly cloudy. We're supposed to have thunderstorms tonight. I don't know if that's going to happen, but my plan is to go to the pool for a little night swim tonight. I asked my neighbor if she wanted to go, and she said yes. So this day has been kind of like all over the place. So I got up today. I slept really, really good last night. I had weird dreams, like crazy weird dreams, but good weird dreams, but crazy dreams. I did not take my medicine last night, and I just wanted to kind of see how I slept without taking my medicine. It still took me a while to fall asleep, but I slept really, really deep when I fell asleep. And I think part of it was me falling asleep was like, I was really, really worried about Boo Radley. When I got done with my vlog yesterday, he was great, like when Alex came home and stuff. And then when I got done with my vlog, I went inside. I was upstairs with Alex and Boo, and Alex was like, Boo still doesn't seem like he's okay. Alex was like half asleep, and he was like, he still doesn't seem like he's okay, like woke up for a little bit. Alex woke up for a little bit. And so I took Boo out. He was just like really, really slow. Alex said he could hear his like stomach like in bed. He could hear his like stomach like making noises. He goes, I think he ate something bad. So I was really worried about Boo Radley last night. He came down like twice while I was watching shows and stuff. And he didn't want any treats. He didn't eat his food yesterday. He was trying to eat the grass and the weeds out here, which is what he typically does when his stomach hurts. I think the little guy's stomach was really like, I think he ate something bad yesterday. I don't know what it was. So anyway, I was really worried about him. Even when I went to bed last night, he was still like real tired, real lethargic. But I woke up today and he was completely fine, back to the old Boo Radley self, so he's doing good. Alex last night slept like the whole night. He like came home and he like laid down for a little bit, he got up, he warmed up some food, he went back to bed, and then he was like asleep for like the whole night. He was like, he kept on saying, he would wake up every time I walked in the bedroom, he'd be like, I don't know why I'm so tired, I'm just so tired today. So today, I'll tell you about what I watched last night in a second, but today I had my therapy session at 1, and then I wasn't really, because I got done at 2, but then I had to start getting ready at like 4 o'clock, 4 or 4:30 to go to therapy, because I had to get an Uber to go to couples counseling tonight. And then I thought I was going to go to a meeting with Tanya unless she had to work. I haven't heard from Tanya, so I'm assuming she's just like working till like 7 or 8 tonight. She usually, if we're going to go to a meeting or it's questionable and she's not like, you know, in the weeds at work, she usually calls like, you know, 2 or 3 or something, like, or text me like, do you want to go to a meeting? I haven't heard from her at all today, which means she's probably been like crazy busy at work. She said 2 people were gone, and so she was having to go into work every single day. So, but the last time that we went to a meeting, she like texted me at the very last minute. So my plan was just to get ready, and then that I was going to go to the meeting, and then after therapy have Alex drop me off. I can't remember the last time, what time it was when she texted me. I don't know if it was right before I went into the session or before I left here, I don't remember. But it was towards, like, the end of the day. And so I was just going to get ready, and then if she texted and was like, do you want to go to the meeting, then Alex could just drop me off after therapy. Well, I had my therapy session from 1 to 2. It was such a great session today. It was really, really good. I'll get into that in just a second. But after that, so, okay, before that, my neighbor texted me, and she was like, I'm going to go to the pool. And I was like, okay, well, I have therapy from 1 to 2 on Zoom. So when I get done with that, I'll come up to the pool after that. And she was like, okay. She went up there, I think, like 12:30 or something like that. And so she was like, okay, just come up there when you're done. Text me and see if I'm still up there. And I was like, okay. Because it was beautiful today. It was like sunny outside and it was really warm. It was a beautiful day. And so when I was in therapy, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna film my vlog. I'm gonna go to the pool from like, this was my plan. I was gonna go to the pool from like, as soon as I got done, which was like 2 o'clock. So from like 2:15 to like 3:45, I was gonna go to the pool for like an hour and a half, and then I was gonna come back, and then I was gonna vlog for like just 30 minutes, and then get ready and take a shower and get ready for therapy and the meeting tonight. So I texted her. It was like, no, it was like halfway through the session, she texted me, and I couldn't see like what she said because I was like, in the session. She texted me, and so when I got off there, I thought she was saying, like, I'm staying at the pool for another hour or whatever. So when I got done with the session, she had texted me and she said that she had met this girl at the pool that had been living with her mom all summer, like this woman that had been living with her mom all summer long, and they were hanging out at the pool, and she was really nice, and she wanted me to meet her, and blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And but they were taking a lunch break, and so they were going to go back. And I said, so you're not going to be down at the pool? And she was like, no. So then I was like, well, if she's not going to be, I said, is anybody else down there? And she was like, no, there's nobody else down there. And so I was like, well, if there's not going to be anybody down there, I don't want to just go and sit by the side of the pool by myself. How boring is that? And so I was like, okay, well, I might go up in a little bit. Are you going to go back up there? And she's like, I don't know. I think I'm just going to make tomorrow a pool day. She was like, but if you want to go for like a night swim tonight, we can go for a night swim. And I said, okay. I said, then I'll just go tomorrow too. And so I was like, I'll just film videos. Well, I filmed my drama video. And as I was filming my drama video, or as I was getting ready for my drama video, I closed like the bathroom door, and from the skylight, the sun was still coming in. So when I got done with my drama video, because I filmed it in the bedroom, I opened the bathroom, and it was like the sunlight was coming out. And I was like, I'm going to film this video. I'm not going to sit here and film videos all day long on a nice day. I'm going to go to the pool. So I texted her, and she had just gotten done with her lunch, and I said, I think I'm going to go to the pool. And at this point, it was like, I was waiting for the drama video to be rendered so I could start uploading it. It was like 3:15. And so I said, I think I'm going to go to the pool for a little bit. And she said, what time are you going to go? I'll go with you. And I said, I'm going to go up there between like 3:30 and 4. I ended up getting up there at 10 till 4. And I texted her right before I left. Well, I got up there, and it was me and the old guy from the Villages that I talked about. I'll tell you about that in just a second. So anyway, I just sat there on the edge of the pool, like drinking my coffee, and he was like going back. He wasn't real talkative. He's usually real talkative. Today he wasn't. He just walks back and forth. Like he walk swims, and so he's going back and forth. He told me he's 89. He goes, I'm 89 and fading fast. I said, oh, don't say that. You're 89. You're living life. You're in a pool. So anyway, but what he does is he walks back and forth, and the whole time he's walking back and forth, he shouts to the top of his lungs, and he's like, oh, Lord, thank you for this beautiful sunshine. Oh, Lord, this beautiful sunny day. It's like constant, right? And so I'm like laughing. Every time I laugh, he like looks over at me and he kind of laughs, right? But he kept on doing it. And so then I'm like in my head, I'm like, okay, like this is my sign to be grateful for this beautiful day. I'm just sitting by the pool. But then I got kind of just like, to be honest with you, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I was just sitting on the steps watching him go back and forth and back. I mean, he must have done it, I don't know, 50 times or something. But I was like, not 50 times, probably 20 times. And he'd stop and he'd like get to the edge. He's like loud about everything he does. And so he gets to the edge and he put his like, he'd go, oh, it's so hot. It's hot. Oh, Lord, thank you for the hot pavement. It was like everything was thank you, Lord, for that. It just was kind of funny. So anyway, I was like, I'd been up there for like a half an hour, and I was like, I knew, when I went up to the pool, in my mailbox, I saw that I got this bracelet that I'd ordered, like, I don't know, 6 weeks ago or something. And I was like, okay, well, I can do that. I can show that bracelet that I got, and I can do a Peter Does Stuff video, and then I'll vlog, and then I'll get ready because I was going back early. And so it was like 20 after 4 or something like that. No. What time did I get up there? Maybe I got up there earlier than that. Now I can't remember. But anyway, I was like, I'm going to do my... Oh, no. This is what happened. So, this is when I was like, I'm filming the drama video. When I got done filming the drama video, we got a text, Alex and I, from our therapist. Now, I just had my session at 1 o'clock with him. And so, he had like a family emergency he had to deal with. And he was like, I'm really sorry to do this at the last moment, but like, I have to cancel the appointment tomorrow. Can you guys move to next Tuesday at 6 o'clock? And we're like, yeah, it's totally fine. Which was great, because then I was like, I can go to the pool, and then I can come back, and I can film videos, and then I can get ready, and then if Tani still wants to go to the meeting, blah, 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 whatever. Which actually worked out really good, because Alex ended up having to stay at work, because he had to, like, do all this stuff at work that he didn't know he was going to have to do. So he ended up staying over, and he just texted me. Well, actually, he just texted me about 10 minutes ago and said he was on his way home. Then he texted me and said, what did he say? He's getting Thai sushi house. He texted me and said, I'm going to order Thai Sushi House. Do you want anything from there? And I said, no, thanks, babe. So then I was like, after all that, I was like, oh, well, I can go to the pool, and then I can come back and I can film videos and stuff. So that's why I went down the pool. So yeah, I came back about, it was like 25 after 4. I like started walking back. Oh, this is what happened. So I got out of the pool. I'm like forgetting everything now. So I got out of the pool, and I was like, at this point, I thought she was just going to be up there, because she, you know, I texted her and I said, oh, I'm leaving now, or whatever, because she said, text me when you're leaving. So I texted her and I said, I'm leaving now. She didn't text me between when I left here and when I got in the pool. So when I got out of the pool, I figured she's probably texted me and said she's just not going to come today, right? And she had said, she was like, I think I'm just going to stay home and I'm going to make, you know, tomorrow my pool day and all this kind of stuff. Which tomorrow is supposed to be like 10 degrees cooler than it is today. Still a nice day, like 80, 81, but it's supposed to be cooler than it was today. And I was like, okay. And it was kind of starting to get cloudy and stuff, so I was like, I'm just going to leave the pool anyway. It was been nice, got to relax a little bit. And so, who just texted me? Oh, Valerini just texted me. Hey, Valerini. She's watching my Peter Does Stuff video about my bracelet, because she texted me. Oh, it's a bracelet helper tool. I'm going to tell her I'm talking about her on my vlog. Talking about you. She watches my vlog. About you. On my vlog. What? Supposed to. Why do you need it? We're supposed to do that garden tour. She said tomorrow. She already told me that. It looks like rain, don't you think? She's like looking at all, she's going back and forth looking at all the flowers. Okay, so anyway, so when I got out of the pool, my neighbor had texted me and said she was just gonna make tomorrow, she'd taken tomorrow. She's like, I took tomorrow off, tomorrow's gonna be my pool day. I'm coming up here all day long. I'm coming up here in the morning and read, and then when you come up here, if you film videos or whatever, we can just hang out in the pool and like on our floats and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I can get up late, and if I choose tomorrow just to film my vlog, then I'll just spend the whole day at the pool. Or I'll film videos all day tomorrow. It just depends on the weather, right? So I'm walking back, and like I get to my mailbox to pull out like the bracelet that I ordered, because it was in the mailbox with like our mail, and she comes out of her house with her bag and her swimsuit on. I go, are you going to the pool? She was like, yeah, I decided I was going to meet you at the pool. And I go, well, I'm done at the pool. And she goes, is there anybody else up there? I go, yeah, the guy from the village is. It says like, Lord, thank you for this. She started laughing. She's like, oh, sweet Jesus. I was like, well, you'll be fine saying that with him, because we're joking about that. And she's like, well, maybe I won't go back to the pool now. I said, well, go, if you want to go to the pool. It's still, you know, it was cloudy, but it was like still beautiful. And I said, if you want to go tonight, and she's like, yeah. She was like, text me later and we'll go tonight for like a night swim in the dark, you know? And I was like, okay. Because I haven't, like, we've been up there when it's like close to dark. She has been, but I haven't been. I feel like I just heard the garage door open. Anyway, so she walked up there, but I was like almost gonna turn around and walk back, and I thought, no, I'm like already dried off, like whatever. So I came in, and my drama video is still uploading, so I filmed the bracelet video for my Peter Does Stuff channel, and then I turned around and I did a reaction to the Netflix series A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is based on the Holly Jackson book, the young adult book, anyway, murder mystery. It's a young adult series by Holly Jackson. I finished it last night. So I did my reaction to that, and then I turned around and did a Peterisms video about this thing that I'd seen on the mail, or seen on Instagram last night. And so then I was gonna do a review video and a booktube video. I was like, you know what, you need to take it slow. Like this is 5 videos with the vlog that you filmed today, so just enjoy the rest of your day. So those videos are all up. All those videos are up already. Can you even believe it? I was going to sit inside and talk to you guys while I was doing it. I was like, no, just get them up. Alex is going to be on his way home, and then enjoy it. So it's like literally as soon as I hit publish on the Peterisms video, it was my last video that I put up. As soon as I hit publish on it, like Alex texted me and said he was coming home. So I was like, okay, and I texted him. I was like, I'm going to start vlogging and whatever. So that's our day. Oh, he texted me. He's like, do you still need me to take you to Tanya's? And I was like, no, I haven't heard from her. So tonight, my plan is, it is so, as I say this, there's this guy walking by my house, like really, really fast. It is so hot. Last night, I walked for a little bit again. It's like, I get to like the half an hour mark with this heat, because it's so hot even late into the night. I mean, last night, I think I looked at like 1 o'clock, and it was like 83 degrees outside, and it's super humid. And so I get about to the halfway mark of walking, walking, and I walk pretty fast. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. So tomorrow it's supposed to be 10 degrees cooler, so it'll probably be like good walking weather. The next week is supposed to be like around 80, 81. It's not, and like in the late upper 70s next week too. So it's not supposed to be too warm. So last night, Alex was sleeping, and I walked for like a half an hour, and then I came back, took a shower, put my pajamas on, and then, what did I watch first? Oh, I watched Big Brother from Sunday night, because I hadn't watched that. So I got caught up on Big Brother from Sunday night. And Nikki and I were texting, because there's so much stuff going on in the house that I'm, like, completely confused by it. I'm like, there's all this, like, chaos going on in the house. I'm so confused by it. And so she had, like, read up on it and watched the live stream, so she was, like, texting me about that. And then when she got home, she and I talked. So I watched Big Brother, and then, what did I watch after Big Brother? I watched something else after Big Brother before I started The Girl's Guide to Murder. Oh, I watched an episode of Sister Wives, and then I was like, I finished my graphic novel last night. Finally finished that graphic novel. It was really, really good. I ended up giving it 5 stars. It was so funny because, like, at first I just kind of was like, I'm not really into this, but the story is so beautiful about it. And I read, like, the about section by the guy, and he's like my age and grew up in Texas and grew up very closeted because he witnessed in his time like 3 gay men murdered in his area. And so, because the book is a lot about like not coming out and not being able to come out, and being afraid to come out, being afraid of what people are going to say or what they're going to do. And it takes place in Texas. And he based it on the Northanger Abbey book about, and so he compares it to that, and he explains why he compared it to that when he read that book when he was growing up, and that he wanted to change the whole ideology behind it and whatever. The end of the book, where the last 2 pages are about that, was really, really interesting. But it's a very sweet book, and it's a lot about like racial diversity as well as like homophobia, coming out process and things like that, mental health. It's really, really well done. It's a graphic novel. It's called North Ranger. It's all one word. It's the name of this, actually, like this house they have, like these people that own this ranch. And so, finished that last night. Was very happy about that. Listened to some of Smile Beach Murders. I'm having a hard time getting into Smile Beach Murders. I think probably because I'm just listening to like a half an hour of it at night while I walk. So I finished that, did all that, and then talked on the phone to Tanya last night, and talked to Nikki on the phone. Talked to somebody else on the phone, I don't remember. Was doing laundry. We had all these towels, and then I looked in the bathroom, and I was like, oh, we have like 1 towel hanging here, 1 towel. So I did a load of towels, beach, like pool towels and other towels, and like all of our little small wash towels. I cleaned those too. And then I started watching Girl's Guide to Murder. So I had watched 2 episodes, and I had 4 episodes left because it was 6 episodes, the series. And so, and I like made coffee and lit the candles. I even brought up my fan, but I have the fan through 1 episode, and then I started getting cold, but I love the fan on. But I have to like have a blanket on, and I'm like, I mean, in the bedroom when I'm sleeping is one thing, but to sit in a chair, it like got cold. And so we keep our air conditioning set on 68. So downstairs is really pleasant at night. And so I was watching the 3rd episode, and I started the 4th episode, and I don't know why, but for some reason I thought it was 8 episodes. And I was like, and at that point it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, okay, because I kind of figured out how long it would take me to finish it earlier. I was like, oh, I'll have that finished by like 4 o'clock. So I had like taken like time and whatever. And so it was like, maybe it was like 2:30, and I started the 4th episode, and I was like, I have the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th episode. I was like, I have 8 episodes. And like for a second I was like, I'm gonna go watch something else. Like, I am so bored of this. This show is so slow. And I'm like, there's no way. I can't finish 5 episodes tonight. And I was like, I just want to finish this show. So I started looking for other shows online as I'm watching it. I'm like looking through my phone for like the best thrillers and stuff. And then I'm like, something occurs to me, and I'm like, it's only 6 episodes. And the last 2 episodes were good, but the episodes, it was so slow. The show is really slow. I feel bad because, like, Nikki loves this book series. Nikki's like, I'm so excited to binge watch it this weekend because I love that series. I don't know. Maybe if you read the book series, it would be better. But I thought it was really slow. I did a whole reaction to it. Slow, and, like, I felt like it went off into other different directions. I think the show I want to start next is... I said it was going to be dark, and I might start that tonight. But has anybody watched The Strain? I feel like I read that book years ago, or read half the book or something. And then I started watching the show. I remember it, like... Because it talks about how a plane, it's 3 seasons, and I think it's conclusive. A plane lands on a tarmac, and, like, there's nobody on the plane. But then there's, like, this coffin, and it has to do with, like, zombies or something. But not really. I remember there being, like, this Dracula-looking guy and this, like, zombie. Or not zombie, Dracula-looking guy in this coffin. So I was like, maybe I'll start that tonight. So if I don't start that tonight, I'm going to start Dark tonight. But it's Tuesday, so it's getting really windy outside. It does not look like, there were dark clouds that have, but now it's like blue skies and just a few dotted clouds, but it's getting really, really windy. I have Below Deck Mediterranean tonight. Alex and I have Dubai. Or is Dubai on tonight? Dubai's on tonight, I think. I can't remember what else he has to watch. What is on? Well, I can look at my TV list and tell y'all what I have to watch. Oh, Valerie texted me, love you. Love you too. My TV watching list. Okay. Oh, I have The Bachelorette to watch tonight, which I'm really excited about because it was on last night. Last week's episode of The Bachelorette was so good, so I feel like I did get some sun today at the pool. I can't wait to watch it tonight. And then we have Real Housewives of Dubai. It's on tonight, so we won't watch that till tomorrow. We have Real Housewives of Orange County. It's on Thursday. I have Below Deck Mediterranean. Oh, but it's not on. It's on tonight, which means I won't watch it till tomorrow. Sister Wives. I'm currently on season 8. I have episode 1, but that's not true. I'm on, like, episode 3 or 4. Bachelorette. Oh, Welcome to Plathville I have. I'm so bored of Welcome to Plathville. Is anybody else watching it? I'm just kind of like, what's the point? Is where I'm at with it. They're going to carry this Olivia Ethan storyline. That's going to carry the whole season, and I'm not even invested in it at all. Here's my husband. And then Big Brother... but that's not on until tomorrow and Thursday, and then I have Evil on here. Valerie's texting me again. What'd she say? She said, I saw your bracelet video and thought you might need this, that I sent above, LOL. Because I was talking in my bracelet video about how I have a really hard time, putting my bracelets on myself, that Alex has to do it. So if you see me with bracelets on, like out to dinner or whatever, I've been like, can you do my bracelets? And Alex does my bracelets for me because I can't link them myself. I don't know how to do it. I mean, I know how to do it, but I just can't do it. Like, they always fall off. So yeah, so that'll be tonight. I'm going to take a walk. I don't know if it's going to be that long of a walk, though. It's like every time, right around the 30-minute mark, I start getting like really, really hot and tired, and I'm like, I got to go back. Which is so weird because I was walking so much, but it was cooler when I was walking so much more. So yeah, and then go for a swim tonight with her, and then watch some shows. So I'm real excited about it because tomorrow and Thursday I have literally nothing to get up for. So I'm really excited about that. Therapy was great today. So we're getting ready to start. I thought we were going to start it today, but I kind of like gave this whole background history. So the background story to this is, I mean, y'all know I was bullied when I was growing up. Okay, so with the last therapist that we worked with when I was in an individual session, I was talking about, like, my reactions to things. And I was talking about, like, being reactionary versus responsive. Something like that. And I was talking about, like, my going through life, I always kind of go through life like a dog that's been kind of like you know, that like snarls, and that would make me like reactionary, and you didn't know what was coming next. And like a cat with his back arch, like that's always how I was, you know, because when I was being bullied when I was growing up, like, it wasn't so much, like I said this in my Peterisms video today, because I did this thing called my trauma response. It wasn't so much that about the words that I was called, or even like the threats. Like, as horrible as that all is, that's facts, right? Like, that's the factual pieces of what happened to me. But that really wasn't what made it so horrible. What made it so horrible was not knowing where it was coming from next, or when it was going to happen, or what it was. I didn't know, you know, like what it was going to be, or that was really where I was constantly like, where's it coming from next? Which I think made me, in life, looking at things in kind of a constantly like on guard kind of thing, right? And so for a long time, I responded to everything very reactionary, and I didn't want to be that anymore. That's not who I wanted to be. So we were working on this in therapy, and, you know, I was like talking about a lot of stuff, owning a lot of stuff, the ways that I have been in the past, very reactionary. And we were talking about the bullying, because he was like, where do you think it started? And I said, I think it started then, because I didn't feel like I could, you know, react to people and whatever. And that was when he said to me, we were talking about the bullying when I was growing up. And he said, has anybody ever suggested to you that maybe you suffered PTSD as a result of bullying? And I've said this before, like, it wasn't so much to me that, of having the diagnosis. Like, let's just pile up a line of diagnoses. It was more about going through it and understanding what that means, what PTSD means, what it is, right? Understanding it more. But more than anything, it was the first time that anybody had really validated the seriousness of what I had gone through. Because I had, like, even at the time that I was going through it, I had, like, because I wasn't telling my mom and dad, so I had, like, school, you know, teachers and administrators, deans and principals being like, just man up, just get over it, just like don't pay it any attention, you know, when it was literally every day, all day. And that was kind of just always the attitude. Just look the other way, just ignore it, you know, whatever. And so I just pushed it down, and I pushed it down, and I pushed it down. And so it was the first time that instead of somebody telling me to get over it, or it wasn't that serious, or all kids are bullied, or you know, just man up, or whatever, it was the first time that somebody had actually looked at me and really not just validated what I had gone through, but validated how serious it was. But because by saying maybe you suffered PTSD as a result of what you went through, was saying, I see that what you went through was so serious that there could have been a result that came from it afterwards. And it was like, yes, okay, finally somebody gets. I don't know if, like, any of you out there, I'm sure many of you have gone through some shit that people don't take seriously, and they minimize it. They're like, God, why does he keep on talking about this? And why does she keep on bringing this up? And it's like, you can't let it go. You don't know why. You know, I said this in my video today. It's like, I don't want to be a victim of this for the rest of my life. Now, I don't really think so much about it off of, like, unless I'm talking about it in a video. And usually if I'm talking about it in a video, it's because I want to bring hope to somebody else or educate somebody else. But off camera, I don't really think about it. The way I think about it is in reaction to something that happens in my personal life makes me feel the way that I felt back then, if that makes sense. Like, it feels very similar to how I felt when I was 7 years old, you know, and I was going through that. So that was originally, like, how it came up years ago. But we really never dove into it and talked about it. And so recently, with and talking about, like, this whole standing up for myself era, and that, like, came out, as I feel like, as a result of letting down all my defenses and working through my OCD, getting rid of all the compulsions and the rituals, I just felt raw. And so that was kind of my response to it, was this I'm going to stand up for myself era. And, like, as hard as that was to watch, and I've said this on video, like, I apologize if people had to watch that, like, in real time. Like, I feel like I needed, personally, to go through that. I don't feel like I'm there today, but I feel like I needed to go through that at that time, right? And I did, and, you know, that's, I don't really know what else to say about that. I'm not gonna, you know, apologize. I mean, I feel bad that people had to watch it in real time, but I'm not gonna apologize for doing it. Like, I needed to do that at that time, you know? And I don't know, like, it felt empowering. It felt like the first time in my life that I really felt empowered to stand up for myself. Today, I feel like I can just stand up for myself every moment. Like, I don't need to, and I don't need to shout it from the mountaintops. It's a little bit about, like, I don't have to fight everybody on what they say and what they do, and I don't have to challenge everything, and I don't have to always constantly be like, well, this is the reality and this is the I don't have to. The camera stopped, the battery stopped. Like, you know, I don't have to live in that today. I can just, you know, let people do what they're doing, and I can just live in, you know, whatever. But for me, it was really about understanding what that meant. Because if I can understand it, then I can work through it, if that makes sense, right? Like today, I brought up the TikTok that the guy made about me where he said I have one of the most aggressive cases of ADHD that he's ever seen. And he was joking when he said that. I mean, the guy is really, really nice. I appreciate the TikTok. It meant a lot to me. I've talked about it on some of my other channels. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there was this guy that made this TikTok about me, about my review channel. He was joking about the fact that I tell so many stories I don't get to the review until, like, I hadn't even tried the food until, like, the 8-minute mark. It was funny. It was real cute. And it was nice. And I, you know, went back and forth with him in DMs a little bit and thanked him for the TikTok. And he was like, oh, my fiance and I watch you all the time. And, you know, it was really nice. But I brought it up to my therapist today. And I was like, you know, it's interesting because when I was growing up, we didn't use the words, I feel like we would use the word ADD, but I don't remember using the word like ADHD. I remember people talking about kids being hyperactive. And I have some kind of weird memories, but I don't know how true they are about, I don't know, like going to the nurse's office and stuff like that. I remember therapists saying it, but I don't remember ever being like on a medication, but I could be wrong about that, you know, like my mom's not here, and I've asked my dad a couple times, like, it's been a long time, and he's just like, yeah, I don't think so, but he was like, maybe. He goes, I don't remember that, though, but that would have been when you were really young. I have, like, a weird memory about this other girl that I was in class with, and she and I both having to go to, but it was also she and I both had to go to speech therapy, so that might have been, like, part of it. I don't know, but anyway, but then when I got out of, I mean, there's a lot of instances where people bring up, like, being hyperactive. That's what they called it back then. Now that, you know, it's a lot of those traits they, you know, assign to being ADHD. I always knew, like, I remember my mom had this book called Driven to Distraction about ADHD, and I can remember, like, she wanted me to read it, and that was kind of her subtle way of saying, I think this is something that you struggle with. And I remember reading it, and I was like, this is totally me. And I remember, like, getting out of treatment, and my first therapist that I saw, he wanted me to take this ADHD test, and I took it, and it was, like, off the charts. He was like, oh, yeah. But I also remember when I first got sober in a 12-step program, now, today, like, they would say, if you need medicine for ADHD, then even if you're sober, you take medicine for ADHD. That wasn't necessarily the mentality in 1994. It was like, no, you don't take anything. You don't take the whatever was around. I don't even know if Adderall was around back then, or Ritalin, or whatever they were putting people on with ADHD. So I remember talking to him exclusively about, I don't remember him ever being like, you are diagnosed with that. I don't know that I've ever had anybody like, I've had people like therapists say you're ADHD, but I've never like had a paper that says you have ADHD. You know what I mean? Like, I've never had that, but I've had therapists that I've worked with where we've worked on my having ADHD. But I can remember specifically with that therapist talking to him and working with him on how to make it work for me as an asset instead of a block in my life. Like, instead of always leaning on, well, I have ADHD, so I can't do this, or I have ADHD, I can't do that. Like, instead looking at it in a completely different way. I don't know why that was his attitude. I have no idea why, but I will say this. I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful that, and I think, you know, ADHD medication is fantastic for people. I know a lot of people that are on it. It works really, really well for them. I'm grateful, and I'm not saying that I don't, that it wouldn't help me, right? But I'm grateful for that, those conversations about how to look at it. This is where understanding the diagnosis and applying it to my life has been helpful to me. Not necessarily just living with, let me share with you my 15 diagnoses, if that makes sense, right? It's more about understanding it and then how to turn it into a strength not a weakness. And that's what I did. And then I didn't talk about it. I just knew, like, this is something that I am dealing with, but I didn't say to people, like, oh yeah, I have ADHD. Like, I just didn't, like, that just wasn't what it was. And so with my last therapist, we talked about it a little bit, you know, but that was not, like, a major part of, I mean, we were there because our marriage was falling apart. So it wasn't like we were there to talk about my ADHD, but we did talk about the bullying and stuff, because just how my response to things and whatever. So today in therapy, when we were talking about this stuff, I was telling him about the TikTok. And we've talked, my therapist and I have talked a little bit, and like, I don't share everything, obviously, that we talk about in our therapy sessions. But we've talked a lot about, I mean, obviously, the OCD, you know, and the PTSD from bullying. But it's not like he has a paper. I don't know what his files look like, but he has never given me a paper that says, Peter Monn, these are your diagnoses, you know. But we talked about, I said something about, do you think I have one of the most aggressive cases of ADHD you've ever... and he started laughing. He's like, no, not at all. He goes, do I think that you struggle with it? Absolutely, 100%. He was like, you know, we've never even approached the conversation of medication. And I said, I don't want to be on medication for it. Like, if that's something I'm dealing with today, it's not really, like, it's not causing me huge issues in my life, other than people think it's funny because I'm distracted and I go from one subject to the next and whatever. He's like, yeah, I mean, it's not bringing you any issues. Why would you want to deal it? Like, it's not, I'm still, like, you know, being able to film multiple videos a day, read books, watch. I mean, to some degree, I think I've turned it into a strength because I didn't know what else to do with it, if that makes sense. And he said, in talking about the OCD, because I talked about, like, how it seemed to come out at certain points, he was like, there are certain, you know, some people with ADHD have some compulsive traits about certain things. Like, it looks very much like OCD. There are parts of ADHD that can look like OCD, and he goes, I think with you it overlaps a little bit. And where you get kind of fixated on stuff. And he goes, it can kind of, like, overlap. And he's like, I think it's similar to that. That might be something that we would talk about, you know? And so we were talking about that. He went into this whole thing about, like, because I said something about, because he was asking me about, like, caffeine and whatever. I said, you know, I can drink a cup of coffee and it can make me tired. And he goes, well, that's not necessarily, that's not the 100% the indicator. He goes, people think that. He goes, it's more like, he went into this whole thing about Mountain Dew and, like, the food coloring in Mountain Dew and the high fructose level or sugar or whatever in Mountain Dew is, like, more an indicator of what that would do. I don't know. Anyway, it was this whole thing about he went into this whole thing about Mountain Dew just as an example. But we didn't really talk much about that. We talked about the bullying, and I told him, like, the whole history of it. Like, some of the things, I really, to be honest with you, I've never shared on camera. And I don't know that I ever will. They're very personal to me. Some of the things I went through. Some of the harassment that I dealt with, sharing things personally with people and then having them used against me later by people that I thought I trusted, made me really guarded for a very long time. I don't know that I've really talked a whole lot about that. I haven't gotten specific about it. Those were things that I long ago forgave those people for, but it still really, really hurt. Being followed home on several occasions. I mean, as I tell the story, I can see myself pulling into the driveway and, like, going to the back door. And, like, I can just see him standing right there. That was really scary to me. I haven't even really specifically got into what he said. And so anyway, I was telling him all this stuff, and he's just kind of looking at me like... I literally can remember being, like... I mean, 1st through 5th grade, I mean, there was at least one class a day where kids would say the most horrific crap to me, right? And I can remember, like, looking up at the teacher and she would just, like, look at me and not say anything. Like, to a 3rd grader, you know? Like, I think about my nephews and they're, like, 3rd and 6th grade. And, like, they're little kids. Like, the teacher was, like, afraid of the little kids. Like, she didn't step in and say anything. I mean, ever. I mean, I think, like, from 1st all the way through senior year, there was maybe, like, 2 or 3 teachers that said something, ever, that ever stood up for me, you know? That ever. And, I had one teacher say to me, she didn't know what to say. You know, and then it kind of made me feel bad for her. She's since passed away. She was a fantastic teacher other than that. I loved her. But that was in high school, and I think she was scared of the guys. she didn't know like what they would do, and I don't think she felt like she had a lot of control over her own classroom anyway, so I think it went a lot deeper than just Peter Monn being bullied in class. I mean, I just had some horrible experiences. And it was interesting telling the story today, because I used to always think that like it only went, and it was only in the classroom. But then when I was telling the story today, it was like, there's things I forget. Like the walks home in elementary school. That was bad. The walks home in elementary school. I mean, sometimes it was bad. The school bus in junior high, I hated it. You know, I was a walker in elementary school. In junior high, I rode the bus. And I would just beg my mom to drive me to school because I just didn't want to be on the bus. I hated the bus. I hated it. It was like, trap me in this place where anybody can say anything, and the school bus driver wasn't going to say anything. You know, high school was like, at that point, you're supposed to be like grown up and dealing with this. I don't know. It's just like, I look back on it. It was so, I think when I tell the story, I don't really know, like today in telling him, he was like asking me some very pointed questions before we get into the trauma narrative about it, because I don't want to continue to respond to the world or react to the world. I don't want to continue to be a victim of this for the rest of my life. I don't want to be a victim of anything for the rest of my life. And so when I was talking to him today, you know, he was like, well, what's your goal by the end of this? And I said, I don't want to respond or react to the world as somebody that's like because you're always going to be somebody that's gone through this stuff. And I go, I know, but I don't want it to be like I'm reacting like, or not reacting, or pushing down, or not responding to things because of what I went through. And he was like, well, what was the worst part for you? And I go, you know, it wasn't the names that I was called, because I got used to those. By the end of first grade, I was used to the words. I mean, there really weren't any new words by second or third grade. It was all the same words, you know, for years on end. It was the same things. Anybody that I would get close to as a friend, they would target them too. So then that person wouldn't want to be my friend. So I was isolated. I was alone always, right? If I started like becoming friends with somebody, they would go after that person. And so then that person would realize by being aligned with Peter means that I'm going to get it too. And I don't want to get that. So, you know, whatever. And so it was just this loneliness that I felt of not really having anybody to talk to or turn to. But more than that, it was the not knowing what was going to happen, or when it was going to happen, or if it was going to happen for 3 or 4. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes in high school, like, most of the time there was something that happened every single day. But there would be, like, periods, let's just say every 3 to 4 months, there would be, like, a 3-day period where Peter wasn't the target and somebody else was the target. And I can remember, like, there was a part of me that was thankful but felt bad for that person, but I can also remember thinking, when is it going to be me next? Like, I knew it was going to turn back on me, and I just didn't know. And that was almost kind of worse. And I said to him, I said it was the consistency of it. It was like constantly. Like, I had somebody years ago, another therapist, say to me something like, how many times do you have to get hit over the head by a 2x4 before you stand up and you say, enough? Okay, you're not doing this to me anymore. You know, you're not going to say these things. You're not going to spread these lies about me. You're not going to call me these names. At what point do you do that, right? But what I've learned through the years is to stand up for yourself, not just in my childhood, but in my adulthood too. When you stand up for yourself, it makes it worse, right? Because they're really, truly evil, sick people. And I know that. You know, I talked to him today about the whole situation that happened on Facebook, and that it kind of like, that whole process with him gave me such hope and humanity and faith, you know, that, I don't know, and it's just like, I'm trying to get back there. I'm trying to really believe. I've gotten a few messages through the years from people that were like, I really felt a certain way about like gay people or gay rights or gay marriage and whatever, but watching your videos and realizing that you're just normal like everybody else completely changed my opinion. I've taken a stance with my family and friends and whatever. Like, not a lot, but I've gotten a few of those, and those messages have really meant a lot to me through through my time on YouTube, because when I'm talking about specifically like gay rights, I get very passionate about it. But I think the majority of the time it's just me existing. right? Like on YouTube, and just sharing about my life and my husband and I and what we're doing and the dog and watching TV shows. And so for somebody to see that and say, well, wow, like he's really no different than I am, except for who he loves, I think then it takes a lot of that away. And that's, for me, always been more powerful than shoving it in somebody's face. I mean, honestly, it really has. I'm not going to say there's not moments that I don't shove it in people's face, like how passionate I am about it and the history and knowing about it. I mean, like, that's important, I think, for us to talk about the dangers and the scary world that we live in. But at the same time, I don't think you really get that until you live it. It's like, I don't know somebody else's experience. I never will. No matter how much they share it with me, I'm never going to know their experience of what their life looks like. You know, but I can be empathetic towards it, and I can be sympathetic towards it, and I can try to hear what they're saying and what they're telling me, and not question it, but take it as fact, right? Like, I think that's important. When somebody's sharing with you what their experience is like, is to say, this is their experience, you know? And, like, that's really meant a lot to me through the years. I think so many people that have just, I don't think people really get sometimes that, I guess I should say it's starting to rain. I should say specifically, I think sometimes maybe you guys don't understand your actions that you do and what they mean to me. And what I mean by that is, I'll see people share from a completely different point of view. Like, the majority of the people that watch my videos are women, right? That are married and have kids and stuff like that. And so people will share with me, like, you know, like, oh, like, my kids are starting school this week or whatever. But and then it's like they consistently, I'm just making this up, you know, share the same thing. But then it's like, oh, I like that TV show too, or whatever. But then they'll leave a comment when I'm talking about something like this, or I'm talking about something like Alex and I, or our anniversary, and they'll be like, congratulations on your marriage. Like, that's so awesome. I'm so happy for you guys. And what that, like, that small comment, like, means so much to me, because what it means is somebody out there, like, respects our marriage, respects us as a couple just like they are. And I know that that might seem small to you guys, but in a world that we live in where, like, and this is where I don't want to become jaded about it, like with the guy on Facebook and the people underneath that were like, yeah, gay marriage is bad and all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't want to become jaded about this, because I do believe there are a lot of really good people out there. I do believe that I don't necessarily think it's just necessarily a good person, but I think it's necessarily kind people, you know, that are good souls. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that belief system. You know what I mean? I think it's very easy to become jaded today, but I think a lot of things, like, even when you guys, if I say something like, I mean, he hasn't been for a while, but let's say if Alex is sick, and I'm like, Alex is sick, and so many people will, like, DM him, or be like, hey, tell Alex I hope he feels better, you know, or like, you know, so many of you will just be like, hope you and Alex and Boo have a great night tonight. Like, that comment alone is acknowledgement that you see us as a family. Like, I know that sounds small to a lot of people, but that's all we've ever really wanted in this world. It's just acknowledgement that we're just like everybody else, except for who we love, you know? And I think that, for me, like, that is such a huge deal. It's like, that's a really, really big deal. And I'm grateful for it. I just want to say thank you, you know? And I know a lot of people are like, well, you don't have to thank us for that or whatever, but there's so many people in the world that don't do that or don't feel that way. Where you're I mean, I don't know, like, how to explain this to somebody when they're like, well, the bullying thing. The bullying thing goes so far past just the words I was called, the actions that were taken. It was from my youngest memory in school and interactions with my peer group, people questioning who I was at my core. That what I was gross and disgusting and nothing that anybody would ever want to be. Well, you grow up with 12 years of that. You think that when you in your head decide one day, like, oh, that is who I am. This is where I talk about how they stole my coming out experience. When you wake up one day and you realize I am gay, this is who I am. You know, somebody just the other day was at the pool, we were talking, and she was like, this woman over there, she was like, at what age did you know, like, yourself that you were? And, like, when did you start? And I was like, you know, going back, and I was telling her stories about, like, when I finally, like, acknowledged it to myself, but was scared to death of ever saying anything. But when I finally kind of, like, knew, I mean, I always knew in my heart of hearts. Like, I always knew, you know? I mean, I had crushes on girls when I was, like, in elementary school, but it didn't feel like how I mean, I remember a friend of mine, she's lesbian, and she said to me, the thing they don't talk about is they always want to sexualize us, but what they don't talk about is the butterflies. That when you're growing up and you're a kid, that's part, you know, that's lesbian, gay, or bisexual, it's about the butterflies. Like, the butterflies are not an act of sex. And when people want to say that stuff about, like, an 8-year-old kid that's having butterflies about another kid in class, right? Like, and they want to sexualize it, like, that's so disgusting to me that somebody would, that's an emotion, that's a feeling, right? And so you're made to feel dirty about things as a kid, and then you grow up with that, and what are you supposed to do with that? And then you have this internal self-hatred, you know, which thankfully, because of my parents that love me so much, and by the time that I came out, I just was like, I'm done. Like, I can't fight this anymore. I'm either gonna like marry a woman and hide this for the rest of my life, or I'm gonna come out. When I came out to total acceptance. I think in that moment was when everything changed for me, because my parents were so loving and kind, and my family was so loving and kind. The majority of my friends were. I think had I come out to opposition, I don't know where I would be today. I don't know. I don't think I had anywhere else to turn. And so I think that was what terrified me. I think that's what terrifies so many people in the LGBTQI plus community, is that moment where you actually vocalize it. Then when I vocalize it, I can't take it back. I can't put it back inside like I've been doing for all these years. I've been, you know, hiding it and sitting on it and all this kind of stuff. Like, I can't, like, once I say it, I can't take it back, you know? I think that was the fear for me. And so I think that was another moment where I felt very empowered. That, you know, my parents were like, we love you no matter what. No matter what. You know? I think it's interesting because I've had friends of mine that they've had, their kids have come out and they'll ask me. I have a friend of mine in recovery whose daughter is trans, and he said, like, he was telling me, you know, like, about her experience and her coming to him and things like that, and to his wife. And I thanked him, you know, I said, I'm so grateful for how you are with her, you know, as a parent. And I'll never forget, he looked at me and goes, why are you thanking me? And I said, because there's, I don't know why this is making me tear up a little bit, but I was like, there's so many people that, like, don't, you know? And he was like, I love my child. I love my daughter, you know? Like, that should go without question. I think one of the things I've also always known is that family members, friends, people, they all have their own coming out experience too. They all have their own list of experiences that they've grown up with, and they come into it. So I don't necessarily know that everybody, the moment that they hear it, is prepared for hearing it. But I do know that moment that you hear it is defining. Because I know it was for me. I know that it was so scary to come to my parents and say that. It was even scarier to come to my friends, if you wanted the truth. So, I don't know. You know, it's like, the bullying's not just about being bullied. The bullying is about being told who I was before I was able to accept that myself. And then when I did accept it, what I was being bullied for, which I knew to be true of myself, they were saying was wrong. And then that carried out for years later. How do you come to terms with the one thing that everybody hates about you and makes you this horrible person is what is the truest thing about you? I mean, that goes so far past bullying, right? And so you feel like you have to, like, hide parts of yourself, to where I was just like, I can't hide any part of myself anymore. Like, I have to just be out, you know? So anyway, I was talking to him a little bit about that today. Therapy session was fantastic. I felt like this weight was off my shoulders when I got done with it, because I was like, I don't want to continue to just respond to the world this way. Like, I just, you know, and he was like, do you think you do now as much as you did 15 years ago or 10 or 15 years ago? I was like, oh, no, not at all. Like, I don't really ever think about it unless it's how I'm responding to something that takes me back to how I felt then. You know, it's like, I have this friend of mine that she's really, like, a therapeutic word is unpacking, but she's really big into, like, unpacking situations. Like, she's always talking about it because she does this with her therapist, and I love this, right? It's like, she talked to me one time about, if you're dealing with something, go back to the last moment, and I was telling him about this today too, go back to the last moment that you felt that way, and then unpack that, and then go back to the moment before that you felt that way, and then before that, and go back to the very first time that you ever felt that way. And that's really where the trauma starts, right? Like, that's really where it all starts, is that very first initial feeling that you feel that way. Well, I remember it was in the lunchroom. You know, I've told this story a million times, when we were having tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches, and it was the homogeneous milk, you know, bottle, and drink the milk because you'll be a homo like Peter. And that was where it started. That was first grade, you know. Everything changed in that moment. And so if I was, what, 6 or 7 then? 7? I mean, we're talking 40 plus years later, here I am. And it's still affecting, because those are foundation years for me, and it's still affecting how I look at the world. I don't want to look at the world from that 7-year-old's point of view anymore. I don't want to look at the world. That's why I try to have so much hope, and I get so disappointed when hope is taken away, because I feel like that's all we got sometimes is hope, you know? Anyway, therapy was great today. We didn't really have anything to go over in therapy tonight, so I think we were both kind of a little relieved that we moved it to next week, which, you know, is whatever. So we have therapy next week. I still haven't heard from Tanya. Has she texted me yet? No, she hasn't. So, 7:36, and she still hasn't texted me, so. Am I coming up on an hour? Oh my god, the battery's at the halfway mark. So that was last night. Slept really good, slept really deep, but it still took me some time to fall asleep. B. Radley's doing well today. Alex is home. I wonder if he stopped and got his... He must have stopped on the way home and got his sushi, or his Thai sushi. Not, he doesn't get sushi. He gets chicken fried rice and all that kind of stuff. Pad Thai. It is going to rain. It just got really dark. How am I going to walk if it rains? It just got really dark over there. He must have picked it up on the way home because I could hear him in the kitchen putting something together, and the kitchen light's on, so he's probably watching TV. So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do for dinner tonight, and then I am going to, I don't know, I might take a nap. I'm feeling like super, super relaxed. So I might take a nap tonight and then get up. Can somebody let me know? I'm going to try to post this before I start watching my shows tonight. Can somebody let me know if they've watched The Strain and what they think of it? And I'm going to go look at the trailer for it, because I didn't last night. I was like just reading articles about it. And I was like, I feel like I started it. No, did I watch a trailer for it? I watched something that had them like unloading the coffin. And I was like, I feel like I watched the first couple episodes of this and I got bored of it. I didn't realize it was 3 seasons long. Oh, I saw it on Facebook first. Somebody posted on Facebook and talked about what a great TV show it was. They acted like it was coming back. It was coming out like this month, and I was like, "Is this coming out?" I mean, is another season coming out? And I looked, and it ended like years ago, like 3 seasons. I feel like I read the book, and the book was by 2 people, and Guillermo del Toro was one of the people. Is that his name? The director. Am I right about that? I should look this up real quick. I feel like he was one of the people that wrote the book. I can remember the book was like Red, The Strain book. Doesn't look like the book that I read. Chuck Hogan and Guillermo del Toro. 2009 is a vampire horror novel by... Okay, it is the first book in the Strain trilogy, which also includes The Fall and The Night Eternal. Larger American vampire. I felt like it was... They said zombie. It's starting to really rain. They said zombies in this thing last night, but I was almost sure it's vampires. I'll be honest with you, because so many people have told me to watch Interview with the Vampire. I'm not real into the vampire thing. Zombies all day long, but vampires I'm not real down with. So, I mean, I don't care. I'll watch it, but I'm not like super interested in it. What was the one? True Blood. I did love that show. Anyway, that's my plan for tonight. And then, I mean, it is so dark. The sky is so dark. I hope she didn't take the whole day off tomorrow. And I guess it looks like we're not going to be doing a night swim either. Hope she didn't take the whole day off tonight. And then tomorrow it's going to be... Oh, now it's 79 tomorrow. Cloudy early with partial sunshine expected late. Thursday, 82, partly cloudy. I mean, it gets up in the 70s until next Tuesday. And then it's in the upper 80s, or mid 80s. So, I don't know. Tomorrow might be another filming day. Or I might just binge watch some TV shows. Sleep in and watch some binge watch some TV shows. Listen. Oh. Is this... Huh? DoorDash, yeah. Is it for Paredes? Yeah, okay. Anyway, Alex is, I guess he wasn't eating. I guess his Thai sushi house is here now. Anyway, let me get off here. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Tuesday and that your week is going fantastically. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I gotta run out here and get this food for Alex. So I love you guys and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.